The ham was dry. That was my first thought when Aunt Donna stood up and cleared her throat. The ham was dry, and someone had overcooked the green beans, and I was wondering if it would be rude to ask for more gravy when my aunt dropped the bomb. I have something to say. The table went quiet. 14 people, 3 generations, all looking at Donna Stafford with the polite attention you give to someone who's about to make a toast. I didn't want to do this here, Donna said, smoothing her red Christmas sweater, but I can't stay silent anymore. Not when family is at stake. I felt Caleb tense beside me. He had good instincts. Comes with the job. He knew something bad was coming before I did. I saw something last week, Donna continued. Something that's been eating at me ever since. I was at the Walgreens on 5th Street, picking up Bill's blood pressure medication, and I saw Mia in the parking lot. My stomach dropped. She was in her car, and there was a man leaning into her window. I thought maybe she was asking for directions, but then he handed her something, a little orange bottle, and she handed him cash. The silence changed. It went from polite attention to something colder. I confronted her about it, Donna said, right there in the parking lot. And you know what she did? She drove away. Wouldn't even look at me. Every head at the table swiveled toward me. I opened my mouth to respond, but Donna wasn't finished. I've been doing some research. The signs of drug addiction, the mood swings, the secrecy, the weight loss. She ticked each item off on her fingers like she was presenting a case to a jury. I'm not trying to be cruel, Mia. I'm trying to help, but I think this family deserves to know what's going on before you bring your habits into our home. My mother's face had gone pale. My father was staring at his plate. My grandmother, 87 years old and sharp as a tack, was watching Donna with an expression I couldn't read, and the rest of them, cousins, aunts, uncles, all looking at me like I'd just confessed to something terrible. Mia. My mother's voice was barely a whisper. Is this true? No? It's not. Then explain what Donna saw. I took a breath. Beside me, Caleb shifted in his chair. I felt his hand on my knee under the table. A silent message. Let me. I can explain, I said. But I'd like to know something first. I looked directly at Donna. When you saw me in that parking lot, why didn't you come closer? Why didn't you actually talk to me instead of watching from across the lot? Donna's eyes flickered. Just for a second. I didn't want to embarrass you. Or maybe you didn't want to get close enough to see what was actually happening. Because if you had, you would have noticed that the man wasn't a drug dealer. He was a pharmacy technician. And the orange bottle was a prescription medication. For my fiancé's mother. The silence stretched. That's convenient, Donna said. But her voice had lost some of its confidence. A pharmacy technician who does business in parking lots? He does when the customer is a DEA agent's family member who needs to pick up controlled substances without going inside and getting recognized. I watched the words land, watched Donna's face cycle through confusion, doubt, and the first flickers of fear. Caleb reached into his jacket. For one horrible second, I saw Donna flinch, actually flinch, like she thought he was going for a weapon. Instead, he pulled out a leather bifold and flipped it open on the table. A gold badge gleamed under the chandelier light. Drug Enforcement Administration, Special Agent, Caleb Reyes, he said calmly. I've been with the DEA for 8 years. The medication Mia picked up was metoprolol, a beta blocker for heart arrhythmia. My mother takes it twice daily. The pharmacy delivers to a secure location because I've made enough enemies in my career that I don't want anyone tracking my family through prescription records. Nobody moved. The technician's name is Marcus, Caleb continued. He's worked with us for 3 years, fully vetted. If you'd like, I can provide his employee ID number and the pharmacy's contact information so you can verify everything. Donna's mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. I drove away when I saw you in the parking lot, I said, because Marcus told me there was a woman staring at us from across the lot, and he felt uncomfortable completing the handoff. He thought maybe someone was surveilling the exchange. Turns out it was just my aunt, building a story in her head. I wasn't... Donna's hand fluttered to her throat. I was trying to help. By accusing me of being a drug addict in front of my entire family on Christmas? You thought wrong. And instead of asking me privately, instead of giving me any chance to explain, You decided to stage a public intervention based on something you half saw from 50 feet away. My grandmother spoke for the first time. Donna, is this true? You didn't speak to Mia before making this accusation? I tried. At the parking lot, she drove past me without stopping, I said, because Marcus was worried about the suspicious woman staring at us. She never said a single word. Grandma Evelyn set down her fork. When she looked at Donna, there was ice in her eyes. So you saw something you didn't understand, invented a story to explain it, and then chose Christmas dinner, in front of the whole family, to publicly shame your niece based on that story. I was concerned. You were gossiping. There's a difference. The table had shifted. I could feel it. The accusatory stares had turned away from me and toward Donna. My mother was looking at her sister with a new expression, something between anger and disbelief. My father had finally lifted his head, and he looked furious. Donna, my mother said slowly, did you tell anyone else about this before tonight? Donna hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. Who did you tell? I may have mentioned it to a few people. Who? Janet and Carol and the ladies from book club. My mother's jaw tightened. Janet was her best friend. Carol was her neighbor. And the book club included a dozen women who knew every secret in our social circle. You told my friends that my daughter is a drug addict. I said I was concerned. I said I thought she might have a problem. That's the same thing, Donna. You spread rumors about my child without bothering to verify a single fact. The dinner had officially derailed. Uncle Bill was trying to calm his wife down, but Donna was in full defensive mode now, making excuses, backtracking, claiming she'd only had Mia's best interests at heart. I sat back in my chair and let it happen. Caleb's hand was still on my knee. He leaned over and whispered in my ear, "You okay?" "Better than okay. I've been waiting 10 years for someone to finally see through her." 10 years? She's been pulling this stuff since I was a teenager, but she's never been caught before. She's too smart. Always plants the seed and lets other people do the dirty work. Not this time. No, not this time. The argument had escalated. My grandmother was now lecturing Donna about bearing false witness, invoking biblical references that made Donna shrink in her seat. My mother was demanding to know exactly what Donna had told Janet and when. My father was asking Uncle Bill if he'd known about any of this, and Uncle Bill was stammering that he'd told Donna not to say anything. You knew? My father's voice cut through the chaos. You knew she was planning to do this? And you let it happen? I thought she was right. You thought my daughter was buying drugs in a parking lot, and instead of calling me, your own brother-in-law, you let your wife ambush her at Christmas dinner? The alliances were fracturing. I watched it happen in real time. Years of carefully maintained family politics crumbling under the weight of one bad decision. My cousin Jessica, who had been silent through all of this, finally spoke up. "Mom, what the hell? Don't use that language. You accused Mia of being a drug addict in front of everyone. And now it turns out you were completely wrong and you told half the neighborhood first?" Jessica threw her napkin on the table. "I'm so sorry, Mia. I had no idea she was going to do this. If I'd known..." "It's okay, Jess. It's not your fault. It's not okay. This is insane." The dinner devolved from there. My grandmother eventually declared that she'd lost her appetite and was going to bed. My parents started packing up to leave, despite my father's protests that we shouldn't let Donna ruin the holiday. Caleb and I offered to help clean up, but my mother waved us off. "Go," she said, hugging me tightly. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I should have defended you immediately. I should have known Donna was full of it. It's okay, Mom. It happened fast. It's not okay. She made you look like a criminal in front of the whole family and I just sat there." She pulled back, her eyes wet. "It won't happen again. I promise." Caleb and I drove home in silence. The streets were empty. Everyone else was inside, celebrating with families who presumably weren't imploding over false accusations. "That was something," Caleb finally said. "Welcome to the Thorntons. Does your aunt do this often? The public accusations? Not usually this dramatic. She's more of a whisper campaign type. Plants a rumor, watches it spread, acts innocent when it blows up." I stared out the window at the Christmas lights on the houses. "She's been doing it to me since I was 15. Told everyone I was sleeping around. Told everyone I cheated on my SATs. Told everyone I only got into college because my dad donated money. None of that was true. None of it. But by the time I found out what she was saying, the damage was done. People had already made up their minds. Why does she target you specifically? I'd thought about this a lot over the years. Therapy had helped me unpack some of it. I think because I don't need her. She has this thing about being important, about being the person everyone comes to for advice and gossip. My mom plays along because she hates conflict. My cousins play along because they're scared of her. But I've never really cared what Donna thinks, and she can't stand that. So she tries to destroy your reputation, pretty much. If I won't worship her, she'll make sure everyone else thinks I'm not worth worshiping. Caleb was quiet for a moment. You know, there's a legal term for what she's been doing. Defamation? Among other things. If she's been spreading false information about you, especially accusations of criminal behavior, that could be actionable. I've thought about it. But suing your aunt for defamation feels extreme. She accused you of buying drugs in front of 14 people, and apparently told half your mother's social circle before that. Caleb glanced at me. That's not gossip. That's character assassination. I let the words sit. Character assassination. It sounded dramatic, but it was accurate. For 10 years, Donna had been systematically undermining me, and I'd let it happen because confronting her felt too hard. What would you do? I asked. Professionally, I mean. If someone filed a complaint about behavior like this. Depends on the evidence, but with enough documentation, witnesses, statements, a pattern of behavior, you could make a strong case. Civil suit, at minimum. Restraining order if she escalates. She won't escalate. She'll apologize, play the victim, and wait 6 months before starting again. Then document everything. Every rumor you can trace back to her. Every witness who heard her say something false. Build a file. If she does it again, you'll be ready. I thought about it. Years of whispers, years of damage control, years of cleaning up messes I hadn't made. And now, finally, I had evidence. I had witnesses. I had a table full of family members who had watched Donna accuse me of something provably false. Okay, I said. Let's build a file. The week between Christmas and New Year's was chaos. My mother called every day with updates. Janet had confronted her about Mia's drug problem, and Mom had set her straight in no uncertain terms. Carol had heard the truth through the neighborhood grapevine and called to apologize for believing Donna in the first place. The book club was apparently in full civil war, with half the members defending Donna and half demanding she apologize. Donna herself had gone quiet. No calls, no texts, no passive-aggressive Facebook posts. According to Jessica, she'd locked herself in her house and was refusing to speak to anyone except Uncle Bill. She's embarrassed, Jessica reported during one of our phone calls. She knows she messed up, but she's not going to apologize because that would mean admitting she was wrong. She was wrong. I know. I'm just telling you how she thinks. In her mind, she's the victim here. She was just trying to help, and everyone turned on her. She accused me of being a drug addict. I know. She's insane. But that's how she's spinning it. The formal apology never came. Instead, Donna sent a group text to the family on New Year's Eve. I'm sorry if my concerns about Mia caused any upset during the holiday. I was only trying to look out for our family. I hope we can move past this misunderstanding and start the new year with love and forgiveness. I stared at the text for a long time. If, I said aloud. She's sorry if. Caleb looked over my shoulder and read the message. His jaw tightened. That's not an apology. That's damage control. I know. What do you want to do? I thought about it. The old me would have let it go, would have accepted the non-apology, smoothed things over, avoided conflict at all costs. That was the pattern. Donna pushed. I retreated. Life went on. But I was done retreating. I typed a response. Hi, Donna. To be clear, you accused me of buying drugs in a parking lot. You spread this accusation to multiple people before Christmas. You staged a public confrontation without verifying any facts. This isn't a misunderstanding. It's defamation. I'm documenting everything for my records. If I hear about any further false statements regarding me or my fiancé, I'll be consulting a lawyer. I hope you have a good new year. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. The response was immediate. My phone lit up with notifications, family members reacting to the message, some with support, others with shock. Donna herself didn't respond, but Uncle Bill called within 5 minutes. I didn't answer. My mother called next. I picked up. "Mia, honey, did you really threaten to sue your aunt?" "I said I would consult a lawyer if she defames me again." "That's not a threat. That's a boundary." Silence on the other end. "Mom? I'm here. I'm trying to process." A long pause. "You know what? Good for you." "Really? Really? She's been getting away with this garbage for too long. Maybe a little fear of consequences will finally shut her up." I smiled despite myself. "Thanks, Mom." "Don't thank me. I should have stood up to her years ago. This is long overdue." After we hung up, Caleb poured us both a glass of wine. We stood on our apartment balcony, watching the distant fireworks as the clock struck midnight. "New Year," he said. "New Year. Any resolutions?" I thought about Donna, about the file we were building, the witnesses we were documenting, the pattern of behavior stretching back a decade, about the line I'd finally drawn. "No more retreating," I said. "From anyone, about anything." Caleb clinked his glass against mine. "I'll drink to that." The fireworks exploded over the city, bright and loud and beautiful. Somewhere out there, Donna was probably nursing her wounds, plotting her next move, figuring out how to spin herself as the victim of my overreaction. Let her plot. I had evidence now. I had witnesses. I had a fiancé with a badge and a mother who'd finally seen the truth. And I had something Donna would never understand. I had nothing left to lose. The truth was out. My reputation was intact. And for the first time in 10 years, my aunt was afraid of me instead of the other way around. Happy New Year indeed. 3 months later, Donna tried again. She'd been quiet after the New Year's text. Too quiet, according to Jessica. And then, in March, my mother called with news. "Donna's telling people you're mentally unstable, that you threatened her, that you're paranoid, that Caleb is controlling you, and that's why you're acting so aggressive." I closed my eyes. Of course, the pivot from drug addict to crazy. Who is she told? Janet heard it first. But you know Janet. She came straight to me. Apparently Donna's been working the church crowd saying she's worried about you. The same pattern. Plant the seed, let it spread, play innocent. But this time, I was ready. "Thanks for letting me know, Mom. I'll handle it." I called Caleb. He was at work, but he stepped out to take my call. "She's escalating," I said. "Just like you predicted." "What's she saying now?" I told him. He listened without interrupting. "That's textbook retaliation," he said when I finished. "And if she's claiming you made threats, that could cross into false reporting territory." "What do I do?" "We use the file. Everything we documented after Christmas, the witnesses, the timeline, the pattern. We send her a cease and desist letter. Make it clear that any further false statements will result in legal action. Will that actually work? It'll scare her. And more importantly, it'll create a paper trail. If she keeps going after receiving formal notice, any future lawsuit becomes much stronger." The cease and desist went out the following week. Caleb knew a lawyer through work, someone who specialized in harassment cases and was happy to do a favor for a fellow agent. Donna received it on a Friday. By Saturday, my phone was ringing off the hook. Uncle Bill called, furious. My grandmother called, concerned. Jessica called, horrified but secretly delighted. And finally, Donna herself called. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was tearful, frantic, full of justifications. She never meant any harm. She was only trying to protect the family. She couldn't believe I would lawyer up against my own aunt. Didn't I know how much stress I was causing? Didn't I care about family unity? I saved the voicemail, added it to the file. A month later, Donna sent a formal written apology through her lawyer. It was stiff and clearly drafted under duress, but it acknowledged that she had made statements that may have been misinterpreted and committed to refraining from further commentary about my personal life. It wasn't perfect, but it was in writing, and it meant that if she ever started again, I had proof that she'd been warned. "Think she'll actually stop?" Caleb asked as we read the letter together. "Honestly, probably not forever. She's not capable of minding her own business." I folded the letter and added it to the file. "But now she knows there are consequences. And that's more than she's ever faced before. You did good, Mia. Standing up for yourself like this, it's not easy. I had help. I leaned into him. I don't think I could have done this alone. Having you in my corner, having the badge, having proof that her first accusation was completely false, it changed everything. You would have figured it out eventually. You're tougher than you give yourself credit for. Maybe, but I was glad I didn't have to find out. The wedding was in June. We kept it small. 50 people, a garden venue, no drama. My parents came. My grandmother came. Jessica came. Donna was not invited. She sent a card anyway. Congratulations on your special day. Wishing you all the best. Love, Aunt Donna. I threw it in the trash. During the reception, my grandmother pulled me aside. She was wearing a blue dress and pearls, looking exactly like the formidable woman who had lectured Donna at Christmas dinner. I'm proud of you, she said, for standing up to her. No one else ever has. It took me long enough. Some battles wait until we're ready to fight them. She patted my hand. You're ready now. I can see it. You're not the same girl who used to let Donna walk all over her. I got tired of being walked on. Good. Stay tired. She smiled. And take care of that husband of yours. Any man willing to flash his badge at a Christmas dinner to defend your honor is a keeper? I laughed. I'll tell him you said that. Please do. And tell him if he ever mistreats you, he'll have to answer to me. I think he's more scared of you than any drug dealer he's ever arrested. As he should be. She kissed my cheek and returned to her table, leaving me standing in the garden with the summer sun warm on my face. I looked around at the people who had gathered to celebrate with us. My parents, dancing together for the first time in years. Caleb's mother, finally healthy after her heart scare, laughing at something Caleb's father had said. Jessica, sneaking a second slice of cake when she thought no one was looking. This was my family. The real one. The people who showed up, who believed me, who stood by me when it mattered. Donna had tried to take this from me. She'd tried to make me a pariah, an outcast, someone too shameful to bring home for Christmas. And for years, I'd let her get away with it. Not anymore. I found Caleb on the edge of the dance floor, watching the party with a contented smile. Hey, husband. Hey, wife. He pulled me close. Having a good time? The best. I rested my head on his shoulder. Thank you. For everything. The badge, the lawyer, the file, all of it. You did the hard part. I just helped with logistics. The logistics mattered. I couldn't have faced her down alone. Sure you could have. You just didn't have to. The music changed to something slow. Caleb took my hand and led me onto the dance floor, and we swayed together while our families watched. Somewhere out there, Donna was sitting alone, not invited to her niece's wedding, facing the consequences of her own cruelty for the first time in her life. I hoped she was miserable, but more than that, I hoped she was learning. Learning that lies have costs. Learning that the people she'd dismissed and undermined weren't as powerless as she'd thought. Learning that eventually, everyone's luck runs out. Mine had changed that Christmas, when an accusation meant to destroy me had instead destroyed my accuser, and I was never going back to the girl who let it happen.